experiment or anything else. Trying to get some feedback from the suppliers, which I'll review later. So this basically goes on to your base, I'm guessing, and that slides into there quite happily. Gives the right spacing, which is a good idea. These little arms on the side here, make sure the spacing's right, and obviously you can do a nice parallel line for that as well. So I'm just going to put another layer on that, and what you can do with this is actually completely cover it over, which is worth its weight in salt. I'm not trying to cut around it all the time. I have to admit, when I first saw this video on LinkedIn of a guy rendering over top of one of these without reading the post properly, of course, that's typical of me, I commented that, why aren't you taking the number off before you render? Not realising what this system actually was. That's down to me, so forget that. So basically, I suppose you could just skim over that little bit where the number is, because you're going to have to scratch it back anyway. Now what I would do with this, and what I might do with this as yet, is just do the surface, because that's how much powder I've got to play with. And again, I'm just trying to keep that. Now when we're doing stone, of course, I don't need it to be super flat, so I'm quite happy that that's bulging in the centre. All I've got to make sure is that those little bead areas don't show through when I scratch it back. And again, we can scratch this back normally within a few hours, but this is when I use my current stone cold product. Let's just have a think about that, because you know, just to find the surface of those numbers now. Yeah, so basically I've covered the edges, which is the main thing. Covered the centre, and because it's stone, I'm gonna, once it starts to dry a little bit, I'll put some ribbons in it like this, and then we can scratch it back into a stone. If it works, I shall finish it off on the edges and stick it in my front garden. Why not? So I think the general idea is to bury that. Now, obviously, if you're doing monocouche renders, you scratch back once that's crispy, once that's a bit drier, whether it's overnight, whether it's the same day. And the same with us, really. We like to carve the same day. We class carving as putting the joints in for the pointing, and then a bit more colouring. So that, again, this I might just. I've only put a teaspoon or tablespoons full of powder into half a kilo of the material, so I shall put that on a bench in the sunshine, and we'll come back to it in just time.